Hi, everybody, and welcome Sunday, February 1st. I think tomorrow's Groundhog's Day. I'm really excited to be here with you this evening. I've missed crafting with you and missed out on a lot of opportunities, so I thought I would take tonight to do an easy card with you and spend some time crafting. Hi, Linda and Diane. Thank you for joining. Uh, Diane is north of Marietta, so maybe an hour from me. The temperatures still are cold, you're right. And tonight I have an easy card for you. We're going to do a happy birthday card, but this card could be for any celebration. With each time I do a video, I try really hard to use products from different vendors. There are so many wonderful crafting companies out there that I like to use a variety. I like to mix and match. And that's what we're going to do tonight. But tonight I'm using standalone dies for the card. The only time we're going to use a stamp is for our greeting. And I have a different card base that we're going to build that I'm going to show you. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so happy you found me. I hope you like what you see and hit that subscribe button. And if you're with me live or you catch me on the replay, thank you for taking time out of your day to spend a few minutes with me crafting. We are going to get started, and I'm going to flip the camera down to my desktop. Okay, now I had someone the other day comment on the reflection of that light. So I'm going to try turning it off, and hopefully you can still see well. Those that are with me live, please let me know if that's not enough light for you to see and if you need me to put that overhead light back on. I'm trying real hard to uh, accommodate comments to kind of make the videos better. So just let me know if you can see okay. Now, I said I was going to use some standalone dies. And the dies that I'm using are actually from scrapbook.com. I'm using Craftlab's Studio Light Nested Rectangles. There are 8 of these, and not only do you get this ruffled edge, but you also get one for each of the ruffled edges that fits with inside that rectangle. Now these are rounded rectangles, and we're going to use not this largest one, but we're going to use the second largest, and I will show you that in a second. I'm also using these nested round balloons, which I absolutely love. So what I'm going to do with these is I've done all the cutting ahead of time. And one of the things I just realized I forgot to do that I'm going to grab is we're going to add something to these. So I've done a lot of the die cutting except for one piece, and we're going to move these off to the side for now. So with these, I'm using white cardstock, and we are going to build our own card base. So what I've done is I've cut 2 of these rectangles with the fluted edge, and I've cut 2 of these rectangles with the smooth edge. Now, I'm going to use, as you probably know, an embossed layer on the outside. So what I did is I ran this through to save us a little bit of time using a Dottie Circles 3D embossing folder from Altenew. I really love the way this looks, and we're going to do something a little bit with it with the balloons. I just thought it would add a lot to the card. So those are 2 pieces. So Now, you can see we don't have a card base. So what we're going to do is build our own. So I'm going to bring in my scoreboard. And we're going to be putting these two together so that the nice edges are one on the inside and one on the outside, okay? Now, I have to be able to join these. So to do that, I'm going to take this edge and I'm going to score it at 5/8. And I'm just going to use my scoreboard to do that. I want to make sure I have a nice sharp edge. All right. Now you could use this with your arched dies. You could do this with a circle die to make your own cards. And we're going to take this and we're going to fold it back right on that score line. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to burnish this really well. Okay. Now I'm going to open this up and I'm going to apply liquid glue, and I'm using my Tombow, I believe it is, and I'm going to apply it to this folded edge. So just along the edge and along that fold. I want it to adhere well because this is going to be our card base. And I'm going to match these up on the bottom and sides, and I'm going to adhere these together. Okay, you can see they match up well. I'm going to use a magnet to hold these together for a minute so that that can kind of set and adhere. Now I'm using, let's move that over a little bit. I'm using the second or the four smallest balloons. Let's put it this way. That's a little bit easier. I did not use the largest. Those magnets do work. And the balloons also have, if you look at a balloon, and I'll show you how I cut it, they have that little like arch where your light kind of hits the balloon. So I cut the three largest balloons and I cut them with these arches where if the light comes in. I cut a fourth balloon, the smallest, and I did not do that for that. Now, you could leave these like this and it will show through on the white. But I thought it'd be fun to cut these out of some vellum and glue them behind the balloons, and it gives it a little bit of transparency. So I'm going to bring in, let's move these out of the way, my cutter, and I'm just going to cut a small piece of vellum, and we're going to die cut those balloons. I meant to do that and it kind of got away from me. And we can cut them very quickly with my die cutter. So I'm going to take these, just the three largest ones that have that little arc in them. And we're going to, okay, Kathy, let's get the vellum in here. We're going to cut this one. And we're going to cut this one. And then I'm going to take this one off. And we're going to cut another piece big enough for that larger balloon. Now the small balloon, I did not cut the arc in, so we really don't need a piece of vellum for that. So let's just cut a piece out. And I'm going to put this right here. Now I'm running this through my Anna Griffin Empress, and it will cut it in a second, and we're going to be on our way making our card. So I'm right here, and I'll be right back over. Okay, so we have these cut out, and they are the same as our balloons. And I want to hold them up and show you what they're going to look like. So let's put these back so I don't lose them. And let's take this balloon. All I'm going to do is adhere this to the back of the balloon, and hopefully you can see you have that little bit that looks like it's transparent and looks like light, and it will add a little bit to your balloons on the card. So let's put these together so they can dry. Now I'm going to use glue. No one is going to see the vellum, and I'm going to adhere the glue to the back of the cardstock, colored cardstock for the balloons. And that way I won't get any, if I put it on the vellum, I risk getting it where that arc is. And I don't want that to show through, the glue to show through. So just going to add it here, a little bit on the other side of the arc, and we're just going to put these together. And they'll go together really quickly. I hope you had a good weekend. I know those of you in the Midwest and Northeast are still quite cold, as we are here. I think I mentioned on Thursday I had a daughter that moved to South Carolina, or on Friday, I guess I mentioned it. And they no sooner went to South Carolina and had a storm warning for 3 to 6 inches of snow, which they typically don't get there. And that warning was for yesterday, and I called her this morning to say, did you get the snow they were saying you'd get? And she said no, they had gotten a half an inch. So I was glad for her for that. But I guess nobody is escaping this cold and some of the snowy weather. So let's put these here. And I'm just going to add this to here and then just pick it up and make sure that they fit together well. There we go. All right. So we have our balloons. I'm going to let that sit here. Now I'm going to bring our card back in. Remember, we adhered it with the glue. So when you open it, it's going to open like this, and you have your card. This card will also stand for you. So it can also be, it's not a fun fold, but it will stand up well. So let's put some of these together. Now I want to show you the balloons again so that you can see that vellum on the inside. So it just adds a little bit to it. Now I did do the embossed layer, and that is the straight-edged layer for these arched rectangles. And I am going to add some glue. And these are such a good size that you could use them for the front of a card really easily. But I so liked using them to actually make my card base. It was something different. So I'm going to angle that up and just give it a good press. Now we're going to put our balloons down. Now we can add some texture to these. We could emboss them, or we could just lay them down as they are. Leave me a note in the comments if you want us to emboss them or use them as they are. And I've got the strings for these balloons, and those are right here. you get 3. I've cut 4 because I've used 4 balloons. Now, because I have white strings on a white background, I thought it'd be fun to just add a little bit of ink with a blending brush to these strings so that they show up, because otherwise they're going to kind of get lost. So this one, I added a little bit of gray ink. I'm using soft stone. And I'm just going to take a small mini blending brush and just add, I'm not looking to cover the string completely, just looking to give it a little bit of color so it shows up. And actually looking for it to be just like it is, a little bit light in spots and dark in the other. And Diane said that you need, okay, Linda's saying use the as they are. All right, let's use those as they are. And I do have a card with them embossed to show you. So we're just going to add a few of this and then one more, and we'll put our strings on. I'm interested if you've had any time this weekend to craft. I did a Concord and Night craft along this weekend and had so much fun that I learned some new stuff. So let's go ahead and add our strings to our balloons. So I'm going to go ahead and turn these over. And we're going to take our glue, and I'm just going to add just a dot of glue here. And I'm going to use the biggest one. Let's do that here. And I could use a glue dot, but when I did that earlier, it even came up. Let's add one here. And we're going to add this one. Diane likes the embossed background. That is one of my favorites. I love the dotted circles. Now for this one, I'm going to just take, let's go with the straight one here. All right, and our last one will end up trimming down, but we're going to put it on the back of this little one. And okay, so we're ready to pick this up and we're ready to arrange our balloons. And you can see that you have that transparency through the vellum. So I'm going to go around the back and again avoiding that spot. And I am using liquid glue because I have an embossed background. And for me, I find the liquid glue works better than a tape runner. So let's add that right here. And then next we're going to go with our coral balloon and add. So this is a card that if you die cut, and these are so easy to die cut, in a variety of colors or just the same colors, you could actually mass produce these. It's easy to do. Let's add this one right about here. Okay. Now, I want to I think I want to tuck this in here. So I may have to cut down my string a little bit. So let's do that. And then this one I thought would look good right here. And then turn it so our strings come together. And this one can tuck behind. So let's do that. So I'm going to go ahead and add for this little guy. And you know, another thing is these are so versatile that you could use this for any age birthday card. And then this one I'm going to add right here. It's just a fun set. Now the other thing with scrapbook.com is they often have a discount code where you can get anywhere from like 10 to 13% off, which is always a great way to add some savings to this, to your getting your supplies. I want to bring him out just a little bit more. Yeah. Do you do that too? Once you get things arranged, you decide you want them a little bit differently? I tend to do that. Okay, that looks good. Now, for my greeting, I wanted something bold. So I'm using a stamp set from Pink and Maine. You use whatever you have. I'm sure you have lots of greetings, but I'm using, it's called the Take Care stamps, and they all have matching dies. So I chose to use the Happy Birthday, and I did stamp it in black ink. And then what I did, because I want to pop it up over these strings, I cut 3 more using the die, and I've glued 2 together. I'm going to go ahead and add another one because I want it just a little bit more dimension to it than it has. And this is one of my favorite ways to add dimension to my sentiments or greetings. And then we're going to go ahead and add to this one. Let me know, somebody in the comments with the light out, if you still see me, if you're able to see the desktop well. Someone, like I said, had commented about the reflection, and I want you to be able to see as best you can. So I tried turning that overhead light off and hope that'll work. All right, so we have 4 layers here of Happy Birthday, and I want my little strings to stick out a little bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and adhere this off to the side. I'm going to add some glue. And let's put that down right about here. And I'm going to add my magnet to hold it down. Now, for the inside, I'm not going to stamp a greeting because I typically wait till I see who I'm going to send them to stamp something. But what I am going to do, and I'm going to show you on the other card, is we'll add this to here. Now, because I want this arch up here, I just think it looks pretty. So what I'm going to do is take a 1/2 inch off the bottom. Now, the other thing you could do would be to adhere this to your back of your card before you score it, and then score it and fold it over with it. And I did do that on the other card I'm going to show you. But it added a little bit of bulk, and I didn't want to do, I wanted to try it a different way. So let's cut this about 1/4 inch and see if that'll be enough. I think I cut it a little more. I think I cut it a 1/2. But that actually, I think, will work out nicely. I like that arch in there. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this in there. I'll stamp my sentiment when I go to send it. But I also added a balloon to the inside. So let me show you that card. And I also embossed the balloons. So here's our card using standalone dies. I think it's pretty happy. And you can see, you could take some Wink of Stella and add that in on the, if you wanted a little bit of shine for the, on the inside where the crescent is. Let me show you the other one that I did. This one I did emboss. You can see there's a ton of texture there. And I actually used a different embossing folder that is similar to this one, but lots of texture. With this one, I did adhere the inside to the back before I glued them together, and I actually folded it back. And you can see these stand well when you stand them up. And for the inside, I did add another little embossed balloon. So really easy cards that you can make using some standalone dies and adding some texture with an embossing folder. So let me bring it back to me. I hope you enjoyed today's cards. I had a lot of fun making them. I had fun. I was glad you chose to do them without the embossing so you could see the difference in the two. You'll find the links with the supplies down below in the YouTube video description. I will also have a blog post up tomorrow that has the measurements and the cards close up. You like the plain balloons better. Good, I'm glad you like that. So they show up a little better against the embossing. The other thing with the balloons is you could use patterned paper to add something to it. You can even use a stencil and cut them out of white and stencil them. So lots of options to make for that. So I hope you have a good evening. Stay safe and well. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. It does help me grow my channel. Feel free to share it. I will be back with you Tuesday evening with some more crafting fun. Stay safe and well. Love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.